Donald Trump is having a catastrophic Sunday after he announced that he's now imposing 15% tariffs against the world, unlawfully invoking Section 122 of the 1974 Trade Act after having his other tariffs against the world struck down by the United Supreme Court. Here are the announcements coming in this morning on Sunday. European Parliament is announcing that tomorrow on Monday, they will be proposing a freeze to the ratification of the European Union trade agreement with the United States in response to Donald Trump's new chaotic 15% tariffs against the world. India is delaying its Washington trade visit this week based on Donald Trump imposing these new 15% tariffs against the world and the chaos being imposed here. In France, they summoned Charles Kushner, who's the ambassador to France. He's also Jared Kushner's father. He was also a convicted felon who Donald Trump pardoned back in 2020. And he's being summoned because he and the State Department are interfering with domestic affairs in France. And they are trying to say, oh, France better focus on its left-wing extremism. And France is like, let us deal with our internal issues and please be quiet. So Kushner has been summoned. Also, the people in Greenland are furious yet again at the Trump regime because they should be. Donald Trump continues to attack the sovereignty of Greenland like the despicable predator that he is. Donald Trump's been posting these bizarre messages about sending hospital ships and hospital boats to save the people of Greenland. And people are like, what are you talking about? We have universal health care in Greenland. We don't need your boats in any event. The boats that Donald Trump claims he's sending, the Mercy and the Comfort, are currently undergoing long-term maintenance in Alabama. It should be noted the people in Greenland are also terrified because one of the things that they think this could be used as is a Trojan horse for an invasion of Greenland. And one of the reasons they think this as well, in addition to Donald Trump threatening to invade Greenland, is that a nuclear submarine just surfaced off the coast of Greenland because someone on the ship was dying and needed medical help. And the people in Greenland saved this American who was on this submarine. But then it turned out that this submarine, a nuclear submarine, was on the coast of Greenland in the first place, which was not known to the Greenlandic people. And that nuclear submarine was there the same time the King of Denmark, Frederick the 10th, was visiting Greenland. So Greenland saved a submariner who was off the coast of Greenland. And then Trump said, we're going to be sending our ships to save the people of Greenland who are dying in Greenland. People are like, what the hell are you even talking about? And then the Greenlandic people learned that the submarines were off the coast of their ship. So what's Donald Trump doing in response to all of this? Well, he sent Jamieson Greer, his trade representative, to make the rounds on various cable news networks and TV shows this weekend to do the Sunday shows. And here's what Jamieson Greer said when he was confronted on ABC's This Week with the fact that, these tariffs are not popular. The American people hate it. And so your plan after the Supreme Court struck down the tariffs against the world are now to impose new tariffs against the world by now invoking another law. I mean, previously you invoked IEPA, which you didn't have the right to by claiming that there's an emergency to regulate import and exports. The Supreme Court said no way. Now, under this Trade Act of 1974, which really deals with currency manipulation, and it does not deal with anything that's relating to, any conduct that's out there right now. I mean, it's nothing to do with trade deficits at all. It has to deal with payments and when there's big kind of payment incongruity and catastrophes in payment systems going around the world is when you can invoke this thing. Anyway, here's what Jamieson Greer has to say. Play this clip.
The 15% tariffs, of course, will expire at the end of July. That's about 3 months before the midterms. So what does President Trump do at the end of that period with midterms looming that have to be on his mind? He comes out and extends it. He comes out and announces more. This is not popular with the American people. In our latest poll, 2/3 of Americans are not happy with the tariffs.
Well, the president's been campaigning on tariffs and protecting American industry for many years, and he does what he says. He delivers on his promises, and so the policy hasn't changed. The legal tool to implement it, that might change, but the policy hasn't changed. And so we're aiming for continuity. There's a 15% tariff now. It's roughly equivalent to the types of tariffs that we had in place under IEEPA. As this tool expires, I'm going to be conducting Section 301 investigations. The Commerce Department has existing tariffs under Section 232. A lot of tariffs are still in place. The reality is we want to maintain the policy we have as much continuity as possible, make sure that business understands this is the direction we've been going. We're going to continue going this.
So then on CNN, you have Dana Bash asking the Commerce Secretary the Treasury Secretary Scott Bessent a pretty good normal question. So the big question that American corporations and the American people want to know, Treasury Secretary Scott Bessent, is will we be getting refunds? Will we be getting tariff refunds now? Because obviously that you stole our money. You taxed American companies, which were then passed on to the consumers. So we should be getting refunds, right? Here's what he says. Play this clip.
Question. Will you refund the roughly $134 billion in revenue taken by these emergency tariffs?
Well, Dana, that's not the big question. Let's just level set here. What the Supreme Court did was a very narrow reading of the president's authority under the IEEPA tariffs. We have other tariff authorities which have been functioning, Section 232 tariffs, Section 301 tariffs, and Dana, when you say it's a big question, that's bad framing because the Supreme Court didn't even address that. The Supreme Court remanded it down to a lower court, and we will follow what they say, but that could be weeks or months when we hear them. So the Supreme Court did not address refunds.
Sure, they didn't address refund. That is clearly going to be up to you, which is why
No, Dana. It is not up to me. It is up to you. It is not up to the administration. It is up to the lower court. Let's just be clear on that.
Okay. Well, the Justice Department told a federal appeals court in this very case last year, if tariffs imposed on plaintiffs during these appeals are ultimately held unlawful, then the government will issue refunds to plaintiffs.
Again, I'm not going to get out ahead of the court. We will follow the court's direction, but as I said, that could be weeks or months away. That decision was not rendered on Friday.
And then this video has surfaced as well right here. So a guy who claimed to be named John Barron, Rupert posted this clip, and sounded a lot like Donald Trump, called into C-SPAN on Friday. Now this clip's surfacing now, right after the Supreme Court ruling to complain. Now, we know that in the past, Donald Trump has used the name John Barron to pretend to be his own public relations person or his own spokesperson, and he gives statements saying that he's John Barron, Donald Trump's PR person. The undisputed fact is that Donald Trump, for a lot of his adult life, pretended to have a spokesperson named John Barron who would interact with the press. That's a true story. So someone named John Barron, though, called in. I'll just play the C-SPAN to complain about the Supreme Court ruling. I'll just play the clip for you here so you can hear it for yourself. Let's play this clip.
John in Virginia, Republican. Let's hear from you.
Well, this is John Barron, and this is the worst decision you ever have in your life, practically. Jack's going to agree with me, right? But this is a terrible decision. And you have Hakeem Jeffries, he's a dope, and you have Chuck Schumer, who can't cook a cheeseburger. Of course these people are happy. But true Americans will not be happy. And you have the woman earlier, I assume she's a woman, she's a Democrat, but she said she's disgraced. She's devastated.